Hello and welcome back to the shed. In today's video I'm going to have another beginner tip on helping you to get an accurate line marked around a 4 squared board, just so you can improve your accuracy when doing your layout. Because I know when I started I very much struggled to get a consistent line all the way around my board using a square on a 4 squared piece of wood. So today we're going to cover that topic, and I'm going to help you out with the little tips and tricks that I found out and discovered over time to get an accurate line around a whole board. Say you're marking it off to cut it to length, or marking it off for a tenon or something like that. You might want to put a line right around your board so that you can get an accurate marking or baseline to start from. So this is a follow-on from how to actually use your marking knife correctly. So whether that is a single beveled diamond knife or a double beveled knife. Now that's what I covered the most, as a double beveled knife, because I believe that's probably the most likely knife that a beginner is going to have. However, you can use the diamond style, but I prefer the double bevel. So today we're going to be using the double beveled knife and showing you how to further on from using it correctly and to mark a line completely around your board. So for this you need a piece of wood that's got one side squared to one face, so you've got your reference face and your reference edge. Now when it comes to doing this, all your markings are going to come off your reference face and your reference edge. So in my case I'm going to mark, this is my, we'll just put RF here, reference face, and we're going to put RF reference edge. The normal markings that I do is a little triangle like that, and I think this is quite common, so it points to the face and then a little scribble tail that just joins up with it. Those markings are not particularly important, and you can put whatever marks you like, but I do recommend that little triangle here pointing to your reference face, just so you know if you come back after you squared this board off that you know where your reference edges are. Now this one's from the hardware store, and I have already checked it. This is flat to this edge, so we're good to go. To do that, you're basically just going to whack a square on there, and that's pretty straightforward. So now on to what we were talking about today. So to mark that line correctly right around your board, you want to come in and you're most likely going to make your first marking on your reference face with your square pushed up against your reference edge. Now that's important. You need to always make sure that all your markings are either coming off your reference face or off your reference edge, because they're the sides that you already know are accurate, and you might not have 4 squared it around. If you have, well, you could work off any of them, but for this we're going to make sure we work off one face and one edge, because even if the others are squared, moving and working off those can add additional discrepancies into your work, which you don't want to have. So we come in like this, lean this double beveled knife away, and you're going to come through a couple of times, and you want to make sure that you've gone right to the edge on both sides. That's vital, that your line comes right out to this edge, because you need to punch through so you can then use that for referencing your square. So I then like to do my next mark on my non-reference edge while we've got it sitting like this. So you come in, reference your knife into that. Now with the double bevel you do need to angle it again to make sure you're matching the angle of what you've actually got there. You come across, push it up against it, and then you're marking this again. So now we can clearly see that we've got this line across here with one squared line against it on this side. Now you'd think maybe you can come off this and do here, but then you're not working off your reference edge. So now what you want to do is flip your board back the other way, reference off your reference face, drop your marking knife in, run your line that way, and then your final line coming across here is off this reference edge that you've already got, and you're going to come in, notch into that, and run your line through. So now when we look at this, we can see that we've got the 2 straight lines coming off our reference face, and then that bottom line comes in and joins up, and there's no discrepancies in it. The line lines up all the way around, so now you've got a nice square line around your entire board. So there you have it, folks. As you can see, it's really that simple, as long as you follow the correct processes and always taking your markings off your reference face and your reference edge. Make sure you actually have a reference face and a reference edge to start with, and make all your markings off that face and that one edge. And you're going to do it every time, as long as you're using correct knife technique, especially if you're using a double beveled knife. You're going to get that square line around your board every single time, and it's going to line up every single time. You can use the same reference ideas using a pencil. You might get a little discrepancy if your pencil is not sharp, but you will still get a relatively square line around using a pencil as well. But for most accuracy, you want to use your marking knife for it, and that's one of the reasons that the marking knife is so popular for hand tool woodworking, because it's a very definitive line and there's no discrepancies. If you want to chisel off that line that you've made there, that line or knife line that you've got in there is a good spot for your chisel to reference. If you're, say, cutting dovetails or chiseling the shoulder of a tenon. And even if you're going to saw around, you can get a chisel in here, widen up that against your knife wall, and then actually have a nice little reference point for your saw when you're sawing around your board as well. So if you liked this video and it did help you out, please consider liking and subscribing and recommending it to anyone out there who you think might benefit from this video. It really does help me out and get this information and tips and tricks out to more people like you. And if you'd like to support me a little bit further, please consider checking me out on Patreon. That's www.patreon.com/AussieWoodshed. Links in the description below. And if you'd like to see some more tips and trick videos like this one here that helps out and just helps to make your woodworking that much easier, please consider checking out the videos on the screen here right now. Bye for now.